Hey guys, this is Bob. Well, it's so good to be back with you. Well, I want to say thank you to all of you who came out to my recent video on Corey Monteith. That was the video right before this one, so I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope it's helped some of you. And, anyways, let me know. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's the one right before this. Well, a lot of you have been writing since my last messages from the spirit world. And you said, Psychic Bob, we want to learn more about the pendulum. You talked about the pendulum. And I think that's a wonderful subject. So we're going to talk about the pendulum today. When we talk about pendulums, there are a lot of different types of pendulums. I happen to have a little box here that I like to store pendulums in. And I'm going to show you my collection of pendulums. Now, a lot of people think you have to go out and spend a lot of money to have a pendulum, but really you don't. These are a few of my collection. This is one that I have that's made of an amethyst. And you can see it's got a little silver chain, a little ball end, it's amethyst. This is a lovely, lovely pendulum. One of my other pendulums is made of silver. And this is a beautiful, simple, very sleek, kind of Art Deco design pendulum. I like this one also. And I have another one which is an Egyptian pendulum. This one's made of copper. But when we talk about pendulums, as you see, there are many different types. And really, there's no one better than the other. It really depends on what you like. Now, also, for those of you who may know, you say, Bob, I can't go out and buy all these. I can't afford it. It's too expensive. Well, you might want to look around your house. Maybe you have a favorite necklace. This is actually a goddess necklace that I have, and it's on a simple black cord. But its shape and its design allows it to hang nicely. This also could be a pendulum. Now, for those of you who live in an area where you're saying, Bob, I can't even get on the internet to buy a pendulum. I don't have any stores. I live in a rural area. I know what that's like. Well, if you can't find anything in pendulum, professional pendulum wear that you like, another option is find a piece of string. Okay, this is just a piece of yarn. Oops, it just broke. You want to get strong yarn. This is old yarn. But basically, what you want to do is maybe you have a simple piece of jewelry that you like. And you could simply, like for example, here's one of my rings. You can just tie a piece of yarn around a piece of jewelry. And that would make for a very good pendulum as well. What you want to do is have something that hangs evenly and is balanced in its weight. So as you can see, that hangs nicely. Something that'll swing freely as a pendulum should swing. Now I know some of you are going to say, all right, Psychic Bob, I got a pendulum, but I don't know how to interpret it. Well, that's not so hard. When it comes to things such as divination, there is no right or wrong answer. It's what you want it to be. So for example, let's say we're going to use our amethyst pendulum. Well, if you want a yes answer, ask your pendulum to swing forward and backward, and that'll be a yes answer. And if you want a no answer, ask it to go side to side. As I said, there's no right or wrong. Maybe for you, though, every time you get a yes answer, it goes side to side. And that's okay. Allow the pendulum to work with you and you to work with it. I like to say we get to know our divination tools. And for those of you who are trying to understand how all this works, take your time with it. I think the first thing is to find a tool that you like. Again, it doesn't have to be expensive. These are some simple pendulums. None of them were very expensive. I think the most that they cost were about $8. I think the silver one was actually silver plated, I believe. I don't think it's sterling. I think that was about $8. And the rest falls somewhere between $5 and $8. So you see, you don't have to spend a lot of money to have a wonderful pendulum. Now, one of the things that's really important to do when you're working with a pendulum is once you start to establish an understanding, like for example, that swinging forward and backward means yes, or side to side means no, you want to start to just talk to your pendulum and ask it things. So for example, one of the things you could use to help, use with your pendulum is you could ask it, let's say you lost a piece of jewelry. And you want to say, is the jewelry in the house, pendulum? And then you just want to stay still and see if it starts to move. Now, some people like to say, well, pendulum's not real, it's all just your own muscles. They call that the idiomatter effect. Well, that may be true. But what is it that is causing the muscles to move? Perhaps it is your subconscious that is receiving information from the etheric realm. So whether it's a muscle response or whether it's, the pendulum being alive, I like to think of it's really a balance. It's a psychic energy, it's a physical response, it's a combination of all these things that make the pendulum work. So don't worry if somebody says to you, oh, it's not real, it's just your mind. Well, really everything originates in the mind. So we can trust the pendulum to work in harmony with our higher selves. Now, for those of you who say, Psychic Bob, I need just a little more clarification. I don't know if I'm understanding my pendulum correctly. Well, one of the tools that you might want to invest in is called a pendulum mat. And I happen to have one here. I'm going to unfurl it for you. Now, this one is made of velvet. You can buy these usually at your local New Age bookstore or online. They're not expensive. I think this was probably less than $10 as well. But you see it has different answers. Yes, no, will not answer, try again, rephrase, maybe. Some of them I've seen are very elaborate. Some of them have zodiac signs and the cardinal points of the compass. So really there's no right or wrong way to have a pendulum mat. This is one I just happen to have. I like it. It's got the sacred pentacle on it, which is a wonderful and mystical symbol. But basically what you want to do is just hold your pendulum in the center of your mat. And then you just calm down, let it stay still, just settle down. And then you begin it to ask a question. Like so, for example, like I might want to say, will I get my jewelry repaired? Say I had a ring that I damaged yesterday. And you just sit still and it says, look, you can see I'm clearly not moving. It's moving by itself. It says yes. So I'm going to get that ring repaired that I damaged. Now, one of the things you want to do is in between questions, you might want to set your pendulum down, give yourself a little rest, and then take up for your next question. So, for example, like if I want to ask my pendulum, for example, for my next question, if I want to ask my pendulum, am I going to buy another house this year? Am I going to buy another house this year? And it says no. Which, of course, actually, I wasn't planning to buy a house. But you never know. So you see, this is the pendulum. It's not a complex tool. It just takes a little practice and a little patience. And as you tune into your pendulum, you'll start to have a rapport with it that will make your pendulum dowsing even more fascinating. Now, have you ever lost something in your house, an important piece of jewelry or an important paper? I know I've certainly done it. And the pendulum is one way that you can use to locate missing items. One of the simple ways that you can use, this is something I've done, is you just draw a simple map of your home. Now I hope you guys can see this. Here we've got front door, living room, den, kitchen, dining room, bedroom. Depending on how big your house is, you can do a different map for each floor, but we're just going to start with a simple home. This will assume a one-level home. Anyways, what you can do is just draw a simple map of your home, and then you want to take your pendulum. Now I'm going to use my goddess pendant pendulum today. And if you were to say, what have I lost? Let's say you lost an important piece of jewelry. Let's say you lost your wedding ring. Well, you could simply ask your pendulum, where is my piece of jewelry? Well, then you just pass your pendulum over each room, and eventually you may start to get some movement. Try to stay as still as you can. You may even almost start to feel a pulling sensation, like it may pull you towards the den, and then it'll start moving, you see. And then you say, is it in the living room? Well, you may not get any motion. Is it in the kitchen? Still maybe no motion. Is it in the dining room? No motion. Is it in the bedroom? But then when you go over to the den, it starts moving. Now it can move in circles. It can move back and forth. There's no right or wrong. Again, this comes down to your interpretation of your relationship with your pendulum. But this is one other way that you can use the pendulum to help you in your everyday living. Well, guys, I am so glad you've been here today. I hope this helps you. I hope you'll explore pendulum dowsing. And as I said, it doesn't have to be expensive or really complex. If you find that you like working with the pendulum like I do, you could even, start to wear a pendulum as a necklace. In fact, today I'm wearing another pendulum. This one I haven't shown you. This is an Isean pendulum. It's based on the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis. And I have taken it off its string and simply put it on a simple chain, and I can wear it. So wherever I am, I can use my pendulum. Now you can use your pendulum to dowse, like for example in the supermarket. If you want to get a sense of what fruit is the freshest and you're just not sure, maybe bring your pendulum along and try that. Now, of course, some people in the store will think you're crazy, but hey, I think most people today are open to spiritual truths and esoteric principles. So anyways, I'm going to encourage you, find a pendulum you like, keep it with you at all times, and you have a wonderful tool that goes anywhere. It makes an attractive piece of jewelry, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So anyways, I'm so glad you're here at Spirit Channel. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We'd sure love to have you here as a member. And this is Bob Hickman. So keep it here. We got more videos coming. Blessings to you all.